You're on.
Okay, I am on. Once you realize that God is speaking to you, that's what I want. You know, Moses, when he went up the mountain and he saw the burning bush, and he was walking up to the bush, and all of a sudden he hears a voice from the bush. It says, "Take off your shoes, Moses, for the ground on which you stand is holy ground." I mean, now what I want to talk about today is the reaction of realizing that there is a real God. And the Bible tells us in Exodus, okay, listen to this verse. This is an incredible verse. And I'm just bringing these up. God's leading me as I'm doing it here. If there be a prophet among you, it's Numbers 12:6. And I'm going to read it just in a second here. I just want to get up the right version of it. And this is what I'm talking about. Okay. It says, okay, in the NIV, when there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, reveal myself to them in visions and speak to them in dreams. It's using past tense words here, and the original doesn't say that. It says unto him, meaning plural, one person. King James says, and he said, hear my words. If there be a prophet, one prophet among you, it says, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision. And this is what he did with Moses. You know, I'm not 100% sure that if Moses actually knew that God was really, really, really there, you know what I'm saying, until he saw the burning bush. Until he saw the burning bush. Until he stood in the presence of the voice of God. My initiation into the reality of God, I was about 11 years old. Not quite 11. I was still about 10. I'd have to figure it up. Anyway, I know that's just my personality, so stick with it, okay? But about 10 years old, I stepped out on my front porch, and I saw lightning take the perfect shape of the devil. And after that, for 12 years, I thought I was condemned to go to hell because, well, I saw the devil. You know, I mean, what are you supposed to think? You know, but you know, I'm 10, 11 years old. I didn't realize, hey, this is all of a sudden now I know God is real. I wasn't thinking about that. But as I grew and as I become more wise, and I'll tell you that the instant I realized it was probably 12 years later. When I was reading in the Bible in Luke 10, down about verse 18, Jesus says, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. And I'm backing up, I'm looking, you know, it's one thing to know, you know, there is a great possibility that God must be real. There's one thing to know that. It's different in knowing he must be real and knowing, wow, he is real. I mean, there's a huge gap there. You might think it. I mean, a lot of people go on the faith that God must be real. A lot of people do. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But I'm just saying there is a huge gap between he must be real and wow, he is real. When you stand in his presence, when you cast your eyes upon the works of his hands, truthfully, that's no more, well, it is more, but all the things that we see around us every day is the work of God's hands. There's a Hubble telescope that they put in, that they can see trillions of miles, and they have an updated version of it now. You see trillions of miles. They say that they can look to the other side of the galaxy, at planets on the other side of the galaxy. I thought to myself, you know, since light travels with time, now this is farmer theology, okay? So open your mind, travel with me just for a second here, because I want to tell you something that I thought is really, really incredible. Okay, the stars that we see happened, they tell us, hundreds of thousands of years ago. The light just now getting here. Truth of the matter is, most of those stars we're looking at could not even be there anymore. It's a great possibility that they faded out a long time ago. But now, if that's true, and the light of those planets that we're seeing happened thousands of years ago, and we had a telescope where you could point and see what is going on, then you could actually go back in time if you knew where to point that thing. If you knew where to point the telescope, you could point it back in time to seeing Christ crucified. You could go back in time, know where the earth was going to be at a particular place in our universe with that telescope, and take a picture of Jesus Christ hanging on the cross. Wouldn't that be something? That'd be something to see, wouldn't it? You could see him when he said, I commit my spirit unto your hand. That's incredible. I guess, you know, that's kind of why they say time means nothing to God. No past, no future. He just always has been, you know, because of the reality of that. Anyway, already. So, but once you realize, see, okay, now look, you couldn't even know to go looking for something like that unless you realize that, hey, God is real, you know. And then your mind starts rolling in the reality of where God dwells rather than the reality of where men tell you that God dwells. Okay. I've had people tell me that I'm smart, but I'm going to tell you a secret. I am not really very smart at all. My mind just dwells in a different place than most people. My mind dwells in the reality of who God is rather than in the reality of man-made religion. You know, I mean, and I don't mean to try to say that all religions are man-made other than the one I'm thinking about. That's you know, I mean, outside of Christian, and I'm not speaking outside of Christianity, you know, as far as different denominations go. That's what I'm talking about. But it's just, that's what I'm saying. There's a wide gap between God must be and wow, God is. When Moses went up that mountain and he stood in front of that burning bush, he's like, wow, God is, you know. I might put that on the front of this video. Wow, God is. What an incredible statement. That's the meaning behind the statement in the Bible that says, I am that I am. I am that I am. And I'm going to go look that up. I am. Because you know, the Jews today, when they hear that statement, they back up and bow down. Because God was literally saying unto Moses the depthness of his personality. In Exodus 3:14, God said to Moses, I am who I am. That's the translation in the NIV. King James here says, and God said to Moses, I am that I am. Wow, God is. The most incredible statement I'm ever able to make to atheists that I meet and talk to along the way is that particular statement. God is. In all that you see, God is. In all that you feel, God is. In all that you can comprehend in your mind and in the reality of everything that we know, God is. He is in the past. He was in the beginning. He is in the future. And He is in the express present. God is. You know, I mean, I just want to get to, and when I say it, it's not quite the same thing as this statement right here that makes the Jews back up and bow down. The Jews who stood in His presence, whose ancestors beheld Him on top of Mount Sinai, who watched Moses go up and come down, who beheld the light on His face of Him who stood in the presence of God. I am Moses. I am that I am. America. God is. That's the most incredible statement that I can make to you. Through one who God has revealed Himself to. The most incredible statement that I am able to make simply is, God is. A lot of people might be saying, well, you know, that's not such an incredible statement. If you think about that a minute, that is the distance between God must be and wow, God is. God is. Okay, verse before and verse after. Then Moses said to God, behold, I'm going to the sons of Israel, and I will say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you. Now they may say to me, what is His name? And what shall I say unto them? And God said to Moses, I am who I am. I like the way King James says, I am that I am. Because, see, God is not just a who. God is all that. That's what I like the way the black folks say it. You think you're all that. Yeah, He is. God is all that. And more, you know. I mean, everything. God is in everything. Everything. I can't express that well enough to say who He is. I am that. That God that delivered you. That I am. That God that held back your enemy. That I am. That God that created Adam and Eve, that I am. That God that said, let there be light. That God that said, Moses, that said, Adam, it is not good that you dwell alone. Whew, man, what a good idea he had that day. You know what I mean? That God, that I am. From the beginning unto the end, I am that I am. You are all that, God. Hey, you know what I'm talking about? You are all that. Alrighty. You know, I can't express that enough. You know, America today should be turning to God's prophets. We really should. I mean, we look to a man-made indoctrined person for the information that we get from God. How ignorant is that? How ignorant is it? God says, if there be a prophet among you, I will reveal myself. You know something God has taught me from my youth up? God has taught me from my youth up. The Lord has led me not to take in doctrine certificates from men. I've had plenty of chances. I could get one tomorrow if I wanted it. I had the church that I went to tell me they wanted to ordain me as a minister. This is a church that my grandma went to 80 plus years ago. This is a really old church, and I'm not going to mention the name because I don't want to offend that church. I love that church. Well established. But the Lord says they have too much politics. And God says, I want to take you another way. You know, that church, this one particular pastor that I know in that church, he don't even believe in prophets. You know, I mean, so how can I be ordained through a church that don't believe in prophets when God has already made me one? You know what I mean? So God will reveal himself. God will reveal himself. Verse after, okay, God furthermore said to Moses, thus thou shalt say to the son of Israel, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me unto you. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial name unto all generations. I am that I am. That's why the Jews back up and bow when they say that. Because they mention God's name. When, you know, actually when they say, when somebody says, God, you are all that, they need to do the same thing. Because it means the same thing. Amen. Alrighty, God bless you. Thank you for joining. We'll see you next time. Another great message right here, Cross in the Middle Ministry.